Hi, I'm Gloria Donahue again for Nana's Cookery, known as Nana by my grandchildren. And we're making some holiday cookies. We're going to continue today with a cookie from the Philadelphia Mainline Cookbook, which you can see, like a lot of my cookbooks, is absolutely falling apart. It's so old and so well used. This is called potato chip cookies. And it's a wonderful cookie that most people do not guess has potato chips in it. They eat it, they enjoy it, but they don't realize there's potato chips in it. We're going to cream the butter. Here's my fourth stick. And we're going to cream that. A lot of things, a lot of recipes start by creaming. And that's what really means take soft, shortening, butter, whatever you're using. It has to be room temp, because otherwise the mixer will have too hard a time really doing it. And creaming really means to just mix it up really, really nicely and make it creamy. So we're going to add the vanilla, and as I've said before, I've heard that adding vanilla to the fat is a good thing. It works better. Now you'll find if you have a stand mixer as opposed to a hand mixer, actually everything will take less time. The stand mixer is more powerful, it will cream things faster. You'll discover that if you try both versions of the mixer. And before I go any further, I have to say that in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned that I had given my KitchenAid mixer away, my workhorse that I'd had for like 35 years and gotten a new one. And my niece called me and said, well, you said you gave it away, but you didn't say you gave it to me. So her name is Crust. She's a beloved niece. And if you have an ESL teacher in Central Florida, there's a good chance you have Crust. Love you. We're going to add 1 cup of sugar. Again, I have these glass canisters on my counter, and it's very handy. Each one takes a full 5 pounds of flour or sugar, so it's very easy to empty and use. And I have a scoop in there, and that makes it easier too. You'll find having good tools, having the right size things, having the right quality, makes a huge difference when you're baking, cooking, whatever you're doing. You want good tools. So we're going to cream that sugar in there. Now this is what I did with the potato chips, and I may not have a full 2 cups. So I just crushed it by hand, and I'll do more if I find that I need them. While that's creaming, I'm going to show you, I'm not crazy about chopping nuts in the processor. It's fine if they're going to be ground, but if they're going to be just in pieces, I find that I like it better with the chopper. So I'm going to chop my pecans with this little chopper, and I find that I don't do it in the chopper itself. You can sort of put it in there. I just put little piles of nuts around and then just move the chopper. And what it does is it turns as it chops, and I just move it around. I don't worry if it's not too consistent, but you'll see it's not as fine as it would be in the processor. And if they're too big, a few extra chops, that's probably not enough. I probably need more. But I find that if something calls for chopped nuts, that this is a good way to do it, because it makes the pieces smaller, but it doesn't grind them. If I'm going to use ground, something like ground almonds, then I definitely use the processor. So I think we're all creamed. That's part of cooking too, sort of do one thing while you're doing another thing. I'm going to move this around, get some smaller pieces. Let's see if I've got my cup there, I'll measure it. Well, I know that that's all good. So now I'm going to, let's see, add flour, potato chips, and pecans. So I need to add 3 cups of flour. And again, I just always kind of lightly lift it. I don't want it really heavy. I don't want to press down in the cup. I want to sort of aerate it with my scoop. Then I bring it up into my cup and then just level it off. So there's 1. And I'm going to do my little on and off, which I find the best way to add dry ingredients, rather than just put it on one where the flour might come up. Really, the on and off for me works very well. I have no problem with something coming up in my eye. As I've said before, I do not like the little shield that they have that you put. I find it very hard to use. I'm going to do 1 cup of pecan bits. So if I need to do more, I will, and I'm going to need some more. I'm not a great one for judging by eye, so I am certainly someone who always measures, someone who always weighs, because I am not very good at guessing, and I really want it to turn out well, and so I'm a great measurer. I use a temp probe for things. I use my scale for many, many things to make sure that it's actually the weight I want. Okay, so there's our 1 cup of pecan bits we're going to put in, and then we're going to mix them all kind of at one time. So I need 1 cup. I need 2 cups of potato chips. So let's see what I have here. I'm definitely going to have to do some more by hand. I'm going to move that out of the way a little bit. And again, just make sure your bowl is big enough to crush, because you don't want the chips going everywhere. But if you have a big enough bowl, it's certainly not a problem. So just crush them by hand. And you want them in little pieces, but again, you're not grinding them. You don't want ground potato chips. You want them to be chippy. So we'll see if this is enough for our 2nd cup. Am I any better on my guesstimating? No, see, I'm not great at guesstimating. So we'll do 1 more little handful. It takes a lot more than you think, because when you crush them, obviously, it gets rid of a lot of the air in between the flakes. And okay, there we go. A few more. Yeah, I've got to be precise here. Here we go. And now I'm going to scrape down. If I can find my, I had a lovely little spatula here wherever I've put it. But we're going to just slowly on and off this whole thing, because now we've got the creamed mixture, and now we've added the flour, and we've added the chips, and we've added the nuts. So we've got quite a bit here, and I've still got a lot of loose flour there. So I still want to do my on and off. We want to incorporate. You don't want to be looking down and seeing a lot of loose flour in there. You want it to incorporate. Okay. I think we've done it. So I always use parchment paper for my cookie sheets. So I'm going to take a sheet of parchment. These happen to be insulated cookie sheets. I have various kinds. You can see they're all old and beat up. Now this says it's a teaspoon. You know what I'm going to do? I was going to treat myself this year and buy some scoops for cookies. And I actually went to a kitchen shop, and they're not inexpensive, and they're like little different sizes, and it's like a little ice cream scoop, and I'm sure it would be great for getting cookies out. But the more I looked at them, the more I thought, you know, I just don't know exactly what size I want for the scoops. All my cookies are different sizes, and what would be right? So instead, I didn't buy anything then. I just came home, and I'll do what I always do, and that is to take a couple spoons of different sizes and see, okay, that's what I want. And then I'll do the whole cookie tray out of that. My sister had a good idea. She does have cookie scoops which she uses, and she's marked on her recipes which scoop, because they have a different color for each size, and she marks on them which one she uses for that recipe, and I'm sure that works very well. So we're going to start with, let's see, it says a teaspoon, but that's probably kind of small. So let's see if all right, I think I'm going to do heaping teaspoons on an ungreased cookie sheet. Now remember, always allow room in your cookies. Don't put them right next to each other, because they're going to spread. The first thing you're going to do is start to melt before they start to firm. So you want to make sure that you've left enough room for them to cook. Now I have maybe you can hear it in the background. I have a convection oven. And what that does allow me to do is do more than one tray at a time, because it keeps the heat more even in the oven. I never do more than 2 at a time, even though I have more racks, because I just find that if I try to do more than 2 of anything, I'm overextending. I'm not going to pay attention to one thing or the other. And so 2 is about my limit, whether it's for cookies or candy batches or anything else. I don't try to do too much at one time, but often I will double up. And you want to make sure that they're about the same size because they're all going to cook together. So why don't I put the cookies on the tray, put the cookies in the oven, and then we'll look at them when they come out. Hi, the potato chip cookies are out of the oven. I'm just going to slide the whole thing on parchment paper to a rack. I find that's the easiest thing to do. The cookies will come off on their own later. It's no problem. I'm going to take some 10x sugar. I have a little thing that does the job, but if not, you can use a little strainer. And these get confectioner sugar on them while they are hot. And then just let them cool and enjoy. Hi, thanks for watching. My family is thrilled. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Bye.